No doc business loans for startups up to $250,000 and above. The first round. How about the second one? And even more than that. As well as for non startups, you've been an established business, whether you are a sole proprietor or running underneath an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, and more. And you're just wanting to take advantage of 0% interest for 6 to 18 plus months, that you can use this as working capital. You're going into a new venture, a new project or projects, or getting a new product or more services, and you're just trying to figure out, okay, how can I do this without expecting this ROI immediately? I'm going into a new venture. Or you have an existing amount in a pattern where you go, if I take this amount, I know I'm going to produce this ROI, this gross profit margin and margins net, and so much more. So I'll be covering all of that in just a second. But before I do, my name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business funding expert, business loan broker expert, pre-underwriter/underwriter, who's helped out a lot of people navigate through the trenches and battle and the scars people have taken on, trying to do it on their own. Others out there over-promising and under-delivering, just going anywhere and everywhere, just applying here and there is not the best strategy and tactic. I'll tell you that from myself and my own experiences many, many years ago of doing it. It was the worst thing. You don't always get the most amount at the best terms and rates. You're unsure about this specific service. Can you trust that person? Are they loyal? What's their reputation like? Are they trustworthy in all of these different ways? And there's so much more to navigate through. And I run multiple businesses. I have one in the digital marketing agency, lead generation space, one in the health affiliate marketing space that I've helped out a lot of people with their back pain, ergonomic seat cushions, desk chairs, and a lot more, vitamins and supplements. Others in the affiliate space. I even did a e-commerce hybrid with my affiliate marketing business in the health side, and then I reverted back. Other ventures, other verticals, and this has been my primary focus as a business funding expert. So just so you know, I review a lot of documents. I'm not this whole let me just send the information out type of person. I actually look through documents. I package those loan applications, credit applications, a combination of them. I'm very introverted. I'm a more calculated, analytical, cerebral type. So I enjoy looking at documents and calculating a lot of different things to see the amount that you potentially could get up to, and really working this out with the best lenders and underwriters out there. Heck, I could just focus all of my energy on becoming an underwriter. But there's a lot of flexibility on this side that I have, and then my other businesses. And I never take anything for granted. I'm very appreciative. I'm very humble. And I'm a Libra, so very loyal, very well balanced. I'm the more analytical, cerebral type though, so I'll navigate you in the right direction so you're in the safest of hands. And I know what it is like getting funding for my businesses and getting business credit, personal credit, other types of loan, government assistance. I've been there. I even worked in construction, manufacturing, warehousing. I was a ramp agent in other positions in my younger 20s. And then I went into financial logistics. The company went down under. I was underappreciated, undervalued, had to go back on unemployment benefits, food stamp cards, and introverted me. I'm the oldest. I have a younger brother. There's four of us in our family, mom and dad, my younger brother and me. I felt so guilty and I felt so embarrassed going in there just to pay with an EBT card, not even able to lock eyes, and just walking out. Thankfully, I have my bags. I can go home now and do what I had to do, fill out jobs. And I didn't have to, but I wanted to start a new thing. I didn't want to just go take another job, another career, and work 40 plus hours a week and slave off to somebody else who's the owner. I wanted to start my own business. So luckily for me at that time, before the company went down under in a financial logistics position servicing HP and Peace Health and others, I learned about even more in context of these businesses. So I got into them and I worked those out for many years, still have them. So that was a time. And I've gone to school. I've educated myself. I studied. I played Division I soccer for a bit, studied a little bit of sociology, moved into chemical engineering, went through that for some time. Chemistry is my favorite class. And then I had to make a big decision. I wanted to start a business, so I went into business administration, and then I went down that route. I'm not a talker. I'm more a listener than anything. It's still hard for me to this day to do video stuff. I'm more of a writer. So back to this, no doc. Before I go into what this specific no doc type of program is, just know there are different types of startup and even non-startup funding solutions, and I'm going to leave more information for you down below in the description. The best place to get started will be the free questionnaire form you can fill out. When people ask me, how do I get in contact? And if you want to get help from an expert, I will not do this whole spewing in your ears. I'm not like that. You're going to learn the processes, the systems, the when it's necessary automation part of my business and why it's most efficient for you and how you see it. It'll be so energy and time saving. You're going to be so thankful when you see this. You're going to be like, oh, now I get it and why that makes sense. So there are different solutions out there. You probably have heard of venture capitalists, but let me not go through all of the specific details on what it takes to qualify or takes to go through that. But let me just highlight some of the downsides to it. It can be a lot of energy and time invested. I would see less than 1% of people actually get approved through them. And it could be something more of an entrepreneurial heavy approach where they might want to see more experience or leveraging somebody else's experience that'll be on your team for them to approve you. That's not the only way, but you have to also have a high emphasis on a product that is large economies of scale, as well as it can be something that they can take up and generate a high enough ROI with. And then there's a lot more involved with venture capitalists and finding the right one. There's a lot of different maneuvers. Angel investors can be somewhat similar, a little less lenient, but still somewhat of a process to go through and getting the amount that you need and the support that you actually need longer term. That's another thing to think about. There's crowdfunding, there's equity crowdfunding. If you have a new product or something that's more in the liberal arts or the arts space, that's where a lot of people turn to crowdfunding. It's not just only for that, but you can source a lot to get help from it if it's the right source, it's the right investors, but still it can be time consuming. There can be a lot of things put into that may not work in your best interest, but those are still good options to use. There are a variety of others like 401k IRA we can tap into, a previous job, not a current one, and then look at that and then giving in advance or giving, not in advance, but giving out working capital. And in terms of having a 401k IRA rollover account, there's a little bit more that we can withdraw and extract from that at a percentage level. So there's a little bit of that. There's grant opportunities out there, but if you didn't know, they come and they go. There's only a limited amount of spots or a limited amount, and then you're like looking for the next one. You're applying to a couple of them at a time. You have to put your whole grant proposal together, which I've helped out people with, and doing it correctly and understanding what needs to be put on these applications, how much time it takes to go through these things and over from one to the next. You're insured, you got a waiting period, you have your SBA microloans, peer-to-peer lending, friends and family you can turn to. Yes, there are other ones out there that I can get into, like equity and liquidity. You can get into cash out refinance and sell leasebacks. If you have a property, a commercial real estate, an investment real estate that you own, if it's free and clear, and then we can look at that, rental properties, things like that to withdraw equity from and use that to start up your business. And then there are other ways too, if you have your own savings, other accounts, the list can go on and on. There's a variety more, of course, that are out there, but the one that I want to focus on is credit backed. This is 0% interest business, and even on the personal side, credit cards. And this is what I've been able to get for myself and many others. And there's more of a done for you process if you would like to have that less hands-on. It's more convenient, energy and time, and you want the experts and myself and or with my team to help you with this and do it in the fastest way possible without making your own mistakes. Because the problem becomes when you try to go seek 0% interest business credit cards, even if they're not 0%, are you pulling from the right credit bureau? You have to be alarmed that it could be geographical location area dependent, and if you are not pulling from the right bureau, from the right location, that can run up an inquiry. And if you exceed over 4 inquiries per bureau in the last 12 months, if we see that, and there's other ones, if you're not doing 0% interest, and if you have just over 3, over 2, that can just completely wipe out that credit bureau, not only for that banking location, that top tier, that lower tier, that regional, that community credit union type of situation, but it can be for everything all in one. And so you want to be careful about racking up too many inquiries. I'll go through some of the details here in a second on some of the requirements, but 0% interest business credit cards, that can do a handful for your business, whether it's just for working capital needs you need to meet, you have all of this payroll you need to meet, you have rent, utilities, all this other stuff that's amounting, and you need to mitigate those risks as a startup so you can get started in that venture. And you don't know exactly the ROI you'll produce, or you know that if for every $1 you put into this marketing campaign, you'll get $2 to $3 out. And there's a lot more that comes with this. You're in a restaurant business, perhaps you're a non-startup, and then you're trying to get into a specific section. Maybe you're bringing on an X average amount of customers and consumers for every average order value, or this is what you expect your ROI to be because of that, and there's a little bit more to detail. Or you're moving into catering, and this is something new to you. It's new territory. We're looking at the population and where you're going to serve, and there's a lot of other things per day you're going to do, the amount of hours, energy, labor costs. And so you're looking at your cost of goods sold, you're looking at your variables, you're looking at your fixed cost overall when we look at the net. There's a lot that has to be put in. And so if you're unaware about those ROIs, this could also be very helpful and also helping you with expenses and as you're growing your revenue. And what I always tell business owners is take this money and grow your revenue. Double, triple, quadruple it. If you have nothing to double yet, get your way going that way instead of using bad debt. Bad debt only temporarily be used to pay down things to help you then to come back up. You have to learn about what those expenses are, how far those will go, insurance costs. You have lease agreements. You're leasing equipment. You're leasing a building. You have rent on top of this. You got to pay yourself. So you have to know there's a lot more depending on the business, but 0% interest business credit cards. So this is a way we can credit stack, add multiple business credit cards on top of one another at once to pull from different credit bureaus. And it's all dependent on what you already have and don't have. So we'll get into some of these things in a second, but let's say we go for the very top tier. We want to go for the ones that can issue the most amount of credit limits. So we'll go probably for a Chase Bank, and I'm a primary Chase banking relationship. I have other ones, but this is one where it gives out normally the highest amount. I've seen people go from about 20 to 50 to 75K plus in approvals, or just a limit of 10K to about 50K to 75K plus in approvals. And it just depends on a few factors. It's not always going to be 10 to 50K. Usually you get 2 to 3, 2 to 5 times I've seen, but 2 to 3 times the amount on what's on your personal side. And that can be pushed up even further in some cases in the scenario, depending on your age of history, revolving accounts. What's most important when it comes to this, and I'll get into it in a second even more, are the revolving accounts. Having age history, making sure you don't have any late payments, and most of all, you don't want to have late payments in the last 2 years. That can really hurt. Charge-offs, bankruptcies, foreclosures, all of these issues that become so bad that it's not something that any kind of person would want to lend to, or any bank or anybody else. But Chase Bank, Bank of America, PNC Bank, Truist Bank, that could be great. We can go to a PenFed, multiple products at once. We can go to a Truist Bank. We can go to a PNC Bank. We look at different institutions and ask ourselves, what do you already have? What don't you have? What could be a limit that this wouldn't work? Or if this is a situation where we can get a higher amount here, we're going to position this place first and then go for the lower amounts, and then try to do probably 3 products at once, 2 business credit cards at once from specific locations, or 1 personal, 1 business, a business line of credit, or a business line of credit up to 50K and then a business credit card up to 50K. Can we do that? So it just depends on what you have and you don't have. And yes, there are ways for you to do this on your own, but do you want to? That's the question. Do you just want to be very sure and accurate? You have so many projects. A lot of people come to me and they go, I have so much. Can you please get this done for me? And I'll get it done. I'll take very, very good care of it for you, as well as for everybody else. And there are many other reasons why. But some of the things here, and I have my document here. I'm just going to use this as reference. I don't even need to look at this, but I have my laptop in front of me. And this is what I can share with you in time. There's information that I can share with you that's not even publicly released. So that's why the questionnaire form would be the best place to begin. But this goes without being said. You need to have a personal credit of 700 on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. Excuse me. That's what we're looking for. And I'm going to give you some of the qualifications here, and then the rest of it I can share it with you in time if you fill out the questionnaire form. And then also if you have already done that, I'll send it back to you. And if you already have received it, you should know that. But it used to be once at a 680 plus on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. It's not to say if you don't have it on all 3, you couldn't get a business credit card. Sure, at a 680, 660 level, I've seen that, even less than that with bad credit, business credit cards. Sure. But the thing you have to understand is without optimized credit, if you're going to go for one bureau and you're going to then try to pull after another one, you're likely going to end up waiting 6 months or so plus. And even then you might be you have too much exposure and you have too much inquiries by that point that maybe you just get one card with a $10,000 limit, as opposed to you getting to the 700 plus range where we could have pulled from the other 2 or so credit bureaus and just stacked multiple business credit cards, 3 from Equifax, 3 from TransUnion, 3 from Experian. But in our sequence, what I prefer to do a lot of the times is look at Experian, one with Equifax, one with TransUnion. But it just depends on what your credit profile shares with me, and it tells me, and it'll paint for me a clearer picture because I know how to analyze those. and I analyze bank statements, credit pulls, a lot of this stuff every single day. I have to get back to a few things after this video. I'll close up here in a second. So that's what is one part. No more than 4 bank inquiries per credit bureau in the last 12 months. And even with others, they'd like to see no more than 3. When you're going for personal credit cards, a lot of the times you'll see no more than 2, no more than 3. 2 to 3 is the absolute limit. And if you're going to look for getting the most amount from business credit cards, you normally don't want to extend 3 or even 2 in those bureaus. And they'll even say per bureau. So to get the most, and what the biggest banks are lending out there, even over 50 to 100,000 plus, are having low amounts of inquiries in that one bureau and for multiple, depending on the card issuer. So that's another thing. And this doesn't include secured inquiries like auto loans and mortgages. You don't want to have more than 3 unsecured opened accounts in the past 12 months. Applying for too much new credit, getting new credit, opening up new accounts, and it's just so recent within the last 6 months, a lot of the time is even worse. We're letting it be over the last 12 months, but anything normally over the last 6 months, anything over 2 to 3, it just becomes too much. You're opening up mortgages or these other payments, auto loans, that's a different thing there. But you're having to apply for too much in terms of credit cards and accounts, and that's not a good thing. And it also means you may not be able to pay the other cards off, and you're already having difficulty or you haven't taken enough. The age of history with those accounts. There's a lot of other things. No late payments usually within the last 2 years. There's a few more things. You want to have a major bank card trade lines limit of at least 5,000 plus, a minimum of 2 open revolving accounts with an age mortgage of at least 2 years. And there's a few exceptions to that. If you have 1 open revolving account with an LLC established for over 2+ years or so. And there's a few more things. So if you guys would like to know more about this no-doc startup funding up to 250,000 plus and above in terms of business credit cards, that's 0% interest from the right banks and locations, even personal credit cards. There's even other forms of credit-backed funding with personal term/installment loans. If this weren't to work, could we go down that route? A personal line of credit. Could we do a HELOC if we had to as a last resort? Or as we look at a credit partner, if you don't have the credit, can we use somebody that you know? It could be a business partner. It can be a friend or a family member. It could be somebody else. To get business credit cards, though, ideally you want to have somebody who's a business owner underneath your business, at least 10% ownership. I would say it's better to have 20% plus to guarantee things, especially for other types of loans, for loan situations, let's say. And then you can also leverage somebody else who's not in your business, who's a business owner of a different business, if they're willing to apply with their own individual credit to help you out until later on you decide to then do a balance transfer underneath your side, and that could work. There's a few instances for that, but that's what I wanted to leave it at. Just to recap, yes, there are options out there that are available that are startup and even non-startup funding. And for the non-startups out there, if you're looking for revenue, credit-backed, collateral-backed, equity, and liquidity, I work with all the lenders in this space: bank loan lenders, bank lines of credit, online bank term loans, bank lines of credit. I have the best lenders in those spaces. I understand the processes. I understand the market conditions. And I know when it's best to go direct, when it's best to go indirect, to give you a better look. What we'll do on the back end, I do a lot of back end work when you guys submit applications. I'm reviewing documents, soft pulls. I'm going through things back and forth with the lender, the underwriting department. I'm doing a lot of things for you guys to find out what is in your best interest and what would be the best route to go for. And then also, do we do an advance/term loan that's not banking related? Is it an SBA loan, equipment loan? Is it real estate, commercial real estate investing? Are we looking at foreign nationals? Are we looking at rental properties, duplexes, condos, apartment complexes, 2 to 9 plus units? What's the unit count? What's the credit requirement for that? What is the liquidity needed? What's in terms of assets? Or there's a lot more that I can help with, not only on the business side, that's startup and non-startup friendly, but real estate side. And just so you know, there are those options that are available. I haven't shared with them all of them. Questionnaire form will be the best place to get started with. And we are streaming here on TikTok. This could be later on YouTube. Sometimes I'll go in here and do a quick live. And then sometimes I'll be on Instagram live if you're following me there. And I'll repurpose the video here on YouTube, or I'll go directly to YouTube and in other locations. Where are you located? I'm in the Washington area. Does anybody have any questions? This is a spontaneous live. I did not announce this previously to broadcast. So we're just kind of going off whoever is in here. And if you can't join at this time, it's okay. If you're watching it on the replay, great. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining. All information, again, will be down below in the description or in the bio if you're watching this outside of YouTube. And you can get started with the questionnaire form. That would be the best place to begin, so I can share with you the full details of the business credit card, stacking, the personal term / installment loan, the different options that are available. I'll even show you a numerous amount, and I'll tell you which one is best based upon your details. I know how to underwrite files, so there's a process to this that is very energy and time efficient. Nice. Is there something that, is it in terms of bad credit? And you're asking what is the best way to get funding? It just depends. When you're rebuilding your business credit, or is it your personal credit? Normally it's personal credit. I'm not going to go into all the details here. It can be a personal matter, but I would have to know what were the issues, what is the current issue now that you're dealing with, what is the biggest problem and roadblock you're going through, and that would give me a better picture as in where you are now, where you have been, and where you are trying to get to, and the amount of time it can take. So it's a numerous amount of questions. It's stuff that if you guys would like to, you can also send me an email, but the best place is the questionnaire form. And my email, though, it is my first name, Micha as in Adam, E as in Edward, L. So it's Michael at viralfundingsolutions.com. That is my first name, Michael, A as in Adam. And so it's Micha as in Adam, E as in Edward, L at viral, something goes viral, funding solutions with an S at the end.com. So Michael at viralfundingsolutions.com. So I'll leave this open for about another 30 seconds. And I will say this, a lot of people can, in ways, to what level, show you how to get funding. Do they have it all? Do they know as much as they should know? Are they really an expert in this? You'll question a lot of that. But the second part of it is, it's how you use your funding. So like you, I'm a business owner. I run multiple businesses. And so I know how to use my funding correctly for whatever it is I need to use. I need to look at my tax returns. I know how to evaluate a lot of this stuff. And so when I look at going and putting my money to use, will I get the right ROI? Is it an expected ROI? Is this the expected hypothetical cash flow projections and assumptions? Where is that number coming from? Why is that number the way that it is? And this is what it will look like over a 3, 6, 9, 12 plus month term, or over 2+ years, 4+ years, etc. And so I know exactly, based upon the details of a business, on what that could outcome look like. If, okay, you put in X percentage of this, Y percentage of this, Z percentage of that, then what expectations will you get from that? Is it going to be enough? Is the benefit over exceeding, or is it just exceeding the repayment? Is the benefit just over the repayment? So you have to understand those things. And unlike a lot of others who just will share with you content on, here's how to go get a real estate loan from this credit union or this bank loan and then turn this money into, yeah, that sounds good and all, but do they really know if they got a duplex, an apartment complex, commercial real estate or rental property of this magnitude, fix and flips of this, do they really know exactly what would happen? If they know they're going to use 45% goes into payroll and then another 15% goes into purchasing material and supplies, and then you have the labor costs to factor in, and if you did all of that over an expended amount of time, would this really work the way you wanted it to? Do you have to cut back expenses to scale? Do you have to look at scaling back on a specific product? Or you're going into a new venture. There's a lot of different things for equipment. I can go on and on. Every industry is different. So that'll be everything from me. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Down below in the description will be more information. And if you'd like to learn more specific information on how to get started with a lot of this, fill out the questionnaire form. That is the best place to begin. Thank you for tuning in, and talk to you on the next one. Take care.